What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio1Tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials, pick up your premium membership. It is 50 cents a day. And don't forget to stop by CMPKits.com. Get yourself a copy of Drill Loops or Drill MIDI. They will take your drill productions from struggle to success. Don't forget to stop by and check out our legendary Spicy Sundays podcast on Spotify. Follow me on IG. Hit me up in the DM. Ask me all your questions. I will respond. Today we're going to be working in Studio One, but this tutorial will be relevant in any DAW that has a piano roll. I'm talking about FL Studio. I'm talking about live. Now let's get straight into it. This tutorial is going to be focusing around the clav instrument. Now, I think that this is a super slept on instrument. Typically, especially if you've been doing music production for a while, you think about the clav or the clavy, and it's something. It's something that reminds you of like just nothing cool, like an old Neptune song. However, when you use a little bit of a little bit of tension and a little bit of theory, you can get something that sounds like this. And that's fire if you're making loops for, dark lo-fi hip hop for Griselda, right? This is the type of stuff because it kind of conjures up like an old like 70s an old 70s police show that that would have been on network TV or something like that. You can hear it like Jack Friday is the heart of the city. He's going to be taking down the bad guys, arresting the scum, right? And then from that, you might sample that from a VHS, which would give you, and then throw some boom bap drums underneath it, and that's where that feeling goes to. So in order to achieve this sound, the clavy inside Arturia is fire. And what's really powering this is I was able to find this cool band preset pretty easily, but what's really making it go is the auto wah right here. So you can do this like if you can search any one of your VSTs that has a clavy or clavinet, or sometimes it's just a clav that is listed as, and as long as it says like clav wah, you'll be able to use it. And this auto wah is nice because it simulates the effects for you. And I've just got it's a it dialed it in just by ear. Like this sounded good. If you try to use one and you go strictly with the BPM of what you're doing, it's gonna sound pretty corny. I've got the modulation depth like cranked up a lot. If you do it too much, it's gonna sound like a trance gate, or just it's not going to sound like this. So what I've got going on here is in these chords, right? So what it is I'm playing octaves. And if you look at this chord, this isn't really like your typical um 1 3 5 type of chord. So what is it? How can you know to create this? All right. So there's going to be a theme within this series, and the theme, the backbone of dark lo-fi hip hop for Griselda, is tension. And the way that you create tension within your harmonies is by using these minor second intervals, right? So I'm in the scale of D natural minor. It's easy for me to compose in it. It's all white keys and one black key. Really, really simple, right? And in order to create this, all like anytime I've got my MIDI keyboard in front of me, I'm always got one root note, and then I'm always holding whatever the minor second is in the scale, right? So I have the option of these two keys, or I have the option of these two keys. And that's always going to be tense. and then when I was messing around with it, I was like, okay, how do I vary it? So that's how I came up with it. Um, and that's what you want to do. So the main lesson here is these uh instruments that are in Arturia, especially the keyboards that are from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. In order to get these sounds that are more like intentionally sounded like they're sampled for records, using the 80s synths is cool, but using the actual 70s and 80s like actual instruments with the effects that was used, that was supposed to be the way that they were designed for, is going to get you closer to this sound faster. And again, all I did here was I took that, I played it, it sounded good. I stacked it with an octave to kind of fill it out, because you hear without an octave, it sounds real thin. And if you're making samples, you don't want to have thin samples. You don't want to have something that just sounds like real wispy. If the producer wants to thin it out, he can use a low pass filter and do that. But you want to try to make, even if it's just a single instrument, you want to try to make it as thick as possible. And you do that by adding octaves. And that's all there is to it, guys. So the main lesson here is, if you're trying to really nail that dark lo-fi sound, and you want to get into something more menacing, use the minor seconds which are within your scale. Hold them down, ring them out, and use instruments like the clavie and effects chains that would have been um used in these vintage records, in order to get the sound, and you'll get there real fast, real easy. So this is CMP with Craftmaster Productions, Studio1Tutorials.com. You all keep it simple, but do not be basic, and we will see you on the next one.